What's up, guys? Artem MMA Analysis here. Going to be talking about UFC Fight Night Holm versus Vieira. This is my first time really breaking down the card, so you're going to hear my full card breakdowns in about 2 days' time. This is going to be my quick picks and my first time really looking at the card and giving my prediction off the top of my head without any real research or taping done prior. If you want to throw down money on this card, feel free to sign up to beat US using my sign up link for a 125% sign up bonus. Now, first fight of the night, Elise versus Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes making a very quick turnaround, and I respect it. I feel like maybe Elise was meant to fight someone else. No? Okay. Sam Hughes just making a quick turnaround. She only fought 3 weeks ago. She's going to be fighting next week against Elise. And you know what? Elise actually a pretty decent prospect. I picked her to lose against Corey McKenna. And she did win that fight, to be fair. She lost to Sijara Eubanks. I picked her to lose to Sijara Eubanks as well. But on the regional scene at CFFC, she was the champion there. She has beaten Jasmine Jasudaviciat by a split decision there. She beat Hillary Rose, who I guess isn't like a great prospect, but she's alright. Elise Reed, I feel like, does have a pretty decent ground game if the fight goes there. Sam Hughes beat Estela Nunes. Yeah, did she? Yeah, she did. I feel like she kind of barely won the second and third round. Sam Hughes saved her career with that one there. I don't really know what to think about this fight, but I do think I will see Elise Reed winning this one. Probably more in the grappling, because even then against Estela Nunes, Sam Hughes didn't look as good in the grappling as I probably expected, because Estela Nunes is Muay Thai and Muay Thai only. Not a fight to throw money down on, but I probably will be going with Elise Reed. I'm going with Chase Hooper versus Felipe Colares, but I am a little bit wary of it. Chase Hooper, I feel like, potentially was signed to the UFC a little bit too early. Like, this guy was signed when he was like 19 years old. Probably when he was younger than me, you know what I mean? He did win his debut, yes. But since then, you know, he has lost a couple of fights. I picked him to lose against Steven Peterson. He lost to Steven Peterson. He lost to Alex Caceres. I mean, he's a very young prospect. His striking's not that great. His ground game's pretty good. He's fighting Felipe Colares, and I'm going to be noting it that Chase Hooper's going to be a lot bigger in the cage, for sure. Felipe Colares is 5'8". Chase Hooper is 6'1", with a much bigger reach advantage. Is he good enough to utilize that? Maybe not. Felipe Colares is alright, but he's a bantamweight, you know what I mean? And even then, his wins and his losses recently haven't looked incredible. I'm probably going to be picking Chase Hooper to win. Probably a submission, maybe a decision, or I don't really know. But Colares is a bantamweight. It's definitely worth noting that Colares is moving up a weight class. Vince Morelli is coming for a huge KO win over Lewis Smolka. Lewis Smolka just recently lost to Davey Grant. And Jonathan Martinez come off a pretty impressive performance, I guess you could somewhat say, against Alejandro Perez a couple of months ago. And yeah, he's on a win streak now. He beat Tvalishvili as well. Lost to Davey Grant, who yeah, common opponents with Davey Grant and Vince Morales there, I guess, in some way. But yeah, I'm going to be picking Jonathan Martinez to win this one on the feet. Vince Morales does have pretty good wrestling if he wants to take it to the ground. That's it, really. I think Jonathan Martinez, I'm trusting him to keep it on the feet where he probably wants the fight to be, and just to win it there. Omar Morelli versus Uras Medic. Oh, this is a tough one, man. 2 pretty good prospects. One of them really old that just haven't really come into it. I mean, Uras Medic lost to Julian Turner in one of his first fights in the UFC, and Jalen Turner is turning out to be very good. I feel like I've underrated Jalen Turner throughout his career. Omar Morelli's moving up to lightweight at 155 for this fight as well, which is worth noting. Uras Medic, though, before that Jalen Turner fight, I feel like he was a very hyped up prospect, a very hyped up kickboxer. I don't know if I'm going to be picking him to win this fight. I probably will be picking Medic to win this fight here. Omar Morales, I know like he's got like a kind of a strange sort of style. He's got a win over Shane Young, who's from New Zealand, which I expect, but he didn't look that great against Jonathan Pierce. He's moving up a weight class though. Maybe you could find something there, but I'm going to be picking Medic by KO in this one here at the moment anyway. Joseph Holmes, man, I feel so bad for everyone that followed my advice on Joseph Holmes, because I loved Joseph Holmes as a prospect. I was all over this guy. He won on Dana White's Contender Series. I was all over him. He didn't get the contract, and then he beat Genovan Party by KO, who Jamie Pickett also beat as well. And then he fought Jamie Pickett, and he lost. He lost to Jamie Pickett. He lost to Jamie Pickett. That's all you need to know. But he's going to have such a big reach advantage over Alen Amedovski. Alen Amedovski, in my opinion, he's not that good. Like for example, guys, I was picking Yao Zhonghu to beat Alen Amedovski as a slight underdog. That's what even the odds makers think of Yao Zhonghu. Like, I was picking Yao Zhonghu to beat this guy, you know? So, yeah, that's kind of it, really. I think Joseph Holmes should win this one, but he disappointed me so much. in his UFC debut, Joseph Holmes. You've got a lot of proving yourself to do before I jump on that bandwagon again, man, because I'm off it right now. He hurt my feelings. Jun Yong Park versus Eric Anders. I'm going to be picking Jun Yong Park to win this one. He's coming off that loss to Gregory Rodriguez. Gregory Rodriguez is pretty good. He beat Tough On and Chukwi by majority decision in that win. You know, I guess Tough On has lost a couple of fights since then, but the win's actually aging pretty well, in my opinion, really. John Phillips not in the UFC anymore. Marc-Andre Barriot, I don't think is in the UFC anymore. So yeah, I guess the wins aren't aging too well, but Eric Anders at the same time, like, no contest Darren Stewart, but he was beating him up, and then he lost to Andres Muniz by submission. Like, who doesn't, really? I'm going with Jun Yong Park. I'm going with the Iron Turtle. I do think that he probably should get this fight done. Yeah, that's kind of all I've really got for the breakdown on this one. Yeah, Eric Anders, I don't know, I'm assuming Jun Yong Park's going to be the favourite in this one, but Eric Anders is probably a very live underdog. Maybe I'll pick him towards the end, but I don't really know. Tabitha Richie versus Pollyanna. Fiona, Tabitha Richie, lost to Manon Fiora by KO in her UFC debut. That's a tough UFC debut. That's a tough UFC debut. In her UFC debut, she lost to Manon Fiora. That's crazy. But she's bounced back since then. She's got a win in the UFC, so good for her. She's younger than Pollyanna Viana. Pollyanna Viana went on a losing streak to 3 not so great girls, man. Like, jeez. Mallory Martin win, I guess, ain't that bad. But, like, I'm going to be going Richie. She's probably going to be the underdog. I'll pick Tabitha Richie to win this fight. Much less experience. Level of competition isn't really there. Maybe that win over Maria Oliveira isn't very impressive, but yeah, I find it hard to trust Pollyanna's Viana. You know what? I don't even know. I'm going to research this fight, obviously, after I finish this video. Geltinomato versus Parker Porter. I want to know what the odds are for this fight. Is there fight odds for this one? Because I know that Parker Porter, I believe it's Parker Porter, stepping in on short notice for this one, and Geltinomato is obviously going to have to move up a weight class to fight the huge 37-year-old heavyweight in Parker Porter. He is minus 800 to beat Parker Porter. Oh, Jesus Christ. That is crazy. There's no way. Oh my god, okay. Parker Porter potentially a live underdog. This is a heavyweight fight, and Parker Porter's a huge heavyweight, but Geltinomato, I was big on Geltinomato. I picked him to beat Nasruddinov. I think that he was the underdog in that fight against Nasruddin. I picked him to win. I picked him to win against Danilo Marquez as well. This guy is something special. Geltinomato truly is something special on the ground, and I think he's a great prospect. I like the fact that he's coming in relatively quick turnaround, 3 months ago. I think that's pretty reasonable. I do want to see him fighting 3 or 4 times a year because he's that prospect. I believe Geltinomato can make it to the top 15 in the light heavyweight division, but now he's fighting at heavyweight. He's going to have to get Parker Porter to the ground, and Parker Porter's going to be a big boy. And he's on a win streak too over Alan Badeau, who isn't that great, to be fair. Chase Sherman, who once again isn't really that great. Josh Parisian isn't really that great either. He's on a win streak in the heavyweight division though, but I'm going to go with Geltinomato. Probably a submission win for Almeida in this one here. Julian Jokwani versus Dusko Todorov. I'm picking Julian Jokwani to win this fight. I'm going to be honest, I'm 0-2 with Julian Jokwani picks. I picked him to lose against Mario Souza, and then I picked him to lose against Marc-Andre Barriot, and he has proven me wrong twice. So it's about time that I pick him to win this one here. Dusko Todorov was a great prospect at one point, but then he got knocked out by Punahele Soniano, which I guess it wasn't too bad, but then he lost to Gregory Rodriguez, which once again isn't really too bad. But the thing is, he just hasn't really shown. I think it's the striking defense of Dusko Todorov. He is very hittable, and Julian Jokwani at 33 years old, if he wants to make something happen in the UFC, he's going to have to make it happen right now, because he just made his UFC debut, knocked out Marc-Andre Barriot in like less than 20 seconds. If he wants something to happen, he's going to have to make it happen now. I'm picking in Jokwani to win by KO. And this one here, Miguel Pajea versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. This is actually a pretty exciting fight. I do like the fact that Santiago Ponzinibbio is back. I have watched the Li Jingliang loss way too many times, unfortunately for Santiago, because that is a pretty great knockout, to be honest. He beat Miguel Baeza. He exposed Miguel Baeza's bad striking defense, and he lost that split decision to Jeff Neal, where I picked Santiago Ponzinibbio to win that fight. Jeff Neal was like in prison like 4 days before the fight, like a couple of weeks before the fight, something ridiculous like that. But Miguel Pajea, great prospect in my opinion. His last loss was to Diego Sanchez, which I guess hasn't aged that badly, because Diego Sanchez didn't look that bad against Kevin Lee on Eagle FC, you know what I mean? Like, and he's got that win over Andre Fialho, albeit very, very short notice. Like, I will be picking Miguel Pajea probably to win a decision in this one here. He's got really good striking. He can get the fight to the ground if he needs to. maybe we will see this fight go to the ground at one point in the fight, but Mikhail Pereira has had 38 fights as a professional. He's only 28 years old. I feel like people forget about how young this guy is. If he can hold his gas tank for the third round or not waste it on doing backflips and tricks and all that he seems to kind of like doing in his fights, I can probably see Mikhail Pereira winning a 3-round decision in this one. And now for the main event that everyone asked for. The main event that everyone's excited for. We've got a 40-year-old Holly Holm making it. I mean, Holly Holm's a great name in the UFC, I will be honest. I love her fight with Ronda Rousey. I have watched that KO so many times. I mean, I probably wouldn't actually be exaggerating if I said that I've seen it probably at least 10 times. Like, that whole fight. It's just a great fight to watch, really. Especially with the build-up and everything. I love that fight. But yeah, I'm picking Holly Holm to win. She's got very, very good kickboxing. Potentially one of the best strikers outside, like one of the better striking credentials outside of MMA. Out of any fighter in the UFC. Potentially, like, she's like a world boxing champion, I believe, like a world kickboxing champion or something, and then she come to MMA, knocked out Ronda Rousey, made a big name for herself there. Vieira coming off a win over Miesha Tate in a main event, and she didn't look amazing against Miesha Tate, you know what I mean, and that was Miesha Tate that hasn't really fought for a long time. Vieira is huge though. She is 5'8", but she's like a big 5'8", if that makes sense. She lost to yeah, that's it. That's all you really need to know. She lost to Yana Kunitskaya. Yeah, that's it. Actually, that's the end of the breakdown. Caitlin Vieira lost to Yana Kunitskaya. I hope Holly Holm should be able to win. Her two losses recently have been to super high level competition, and Chris Cyborg, Amanda Nunes. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think Holly Holm should win this one here. I don't see her being a champion again, to be honest, but I do see her being able to beat a girl like Caitlin Vieira. I think that we should see Holly Holm probably win a decision in this one here. But yeah, like, she's 41 years old. I mean, it's pretty hard to pick a 41-year-old female fighter, you know what I mean? But good for her for coming back. I just kind of wish this wasn't the main event. I think Ponzinibbio versus Mikhail Pereira would have been a great main event, although they're both unranked, I believe, or maybe they're both barely in the rankings, but that would have been a good main event, to be fair. But hey, it is what it is. As always, BetUS 125% sign up bonus using my link in the description. I'll put timestamps up there sometime. Thank you very much for watching the video. 12 minutes long. It's a lot longer than I thought it would be, but I'll see you later.